All right. Well, what's up, good people? Good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you're at, where you're tuning in from. I know with this group that is in front of me there, we probably have listeners all over the place. I'm pretty sure you guys are internationally known. So, but I want to welcome everybody. This is a Stream Kings pop up. My man DJ Strick, Jermaine Freeman, and we're going to have Alicio join us here in a second. We had a very interesting collaboration this time, talking about getting together, and we decided to just make it very organic and just have a quick pop up to check in with folks because of really all of the feedback that we got from the first time we came together, the production, the content, and so we want to stay before you guys to make sure we can continue to encourage you. And I think we got some success stories to share. Jermaine, you and I are talking about somebody that we were able to help out, but before we get into that, let's just check in real quick. How you fellas doing?
And doing great, man.
Great, man.
Listen, it's a lot of work going on right now. I could definitely tell you that. Like, this is a late night stream, long day. So, to be honest with you, I've been sitting right here in this spot for most of the day editing video. So, if you're a video editor, you know my pain. But hey, why not end the day off with the Stream Kings, right? So
Right,
it's
right.
always a great time to be able to hang out with you guys, man. I just have so much respect for who you are and what you're doing, and man, you guys are doing some amazing things. So I'm hoping we get a chance to dive into some of that and have some great conversation tonight.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Same here. Free, what's up with you, man?
And it's like kind of the same thing as DJ, man. Been at the same position pretty much all day. I just finished cooking for the family, and so we're back at it, man. And really ready to share. I appreciate you guys, and I'm always excited when we get a chance to collab because I know it's going to be some value bombs dropped tonight that we I can learn from you guys. You know, from you
Yeah.
and Strick, ECO. What have you as the Stream Kings, you know. So I'm excited about tonight, man.
Yes, sir. You know, it's funny because I think folks sometimes they see you doing what you do when you're really at your best, right? When you're hosting, you know, your shows and you're helping people with their branding and you're helping people, you know, take their streams to the next level. DJ Strick, you're on radio and you're a pastor, Jermaine, you know, you're running your church and people see us in our element. And I think sometimes they forget about that human dimension to us. We're fathers, you know, we're husbands, we're cooking, we're washing dishes, we're trying to manage our lives just like everybody else. And it was funny. I think it was Alicio that shared a little Snapchat, a little snap pic while he was, you know, washing dishes while we're getting ready to come on. But that human element is something I've seen, especially in the leadership space, because, you know, I do leadership consulting. And one of the things that folks ask me all the time is, how is it that you kind of stay grounded with all of these things going on and still kind of keep that balance in your life where your kids are not lacking, the wife is not lacking, but you're still killing it, you know, when you're element. And this was not something I planned to talk about, but because it kind of been brought up, let's hit on that a little bit.
That's funny. So balance could be different at different times. Let me just say it that way. What does that mean for a lot of us? Like going to work, say if you work a full-time job, that's 8 hours, right? That's more time at work than you are at home. So don't get it twisted that we all struggle in that area based off of uh, culture, like the corporate world of America.
Mm-hmm.
Like they want you working, and if you're working, you're away from the house. And then if you're like us, where you're working and then you are streaming, or you have a couple of other businesses going on, guess what? Those businesses need time, they need attention, and guess who didn't get that time and attention?
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah.
So my wife is really good about pulling my coattail. My wife is really good about setting time, back vacation time. Like I wouldn't go on vacations without her, or without her planning it. Let me say it that way. I would not plan a vacation. I would just work, work, work,
Mm.
work, work. She plans a vacation. She makes sure we're on. She reminds me, remind me, remind me. These are the dates that we're going on vacation, and it allows me, like when I get there, when I finally get there and I can relax, man, I have a ball. But I can get so entrenched into work and doing the next thing that I kind of forget it. Not that I don't spend time with my family, not that I don't spend time with my wife and kids and all that kind of stuff, but man, sometimes work could take over my life, and I can admit that. I can admit that.
Absolutely. I'm kind of the same way. And I had to get to a point where it's that balancing act, right? And like DJ was saying, that sometimes in your life, you will be kind of out of balance, So there may be times where you're just starting the business, or you're just starting the ministry, like in our case or what have you. And so you have to spend more time doing those things. But I think the key is understanding and coming to an agreement, especially when you're in a relationship or in a marriage or what have you, coming to an agreement and say, hey, I'm going to be out of pocket, for the next month or so. I'm grinding, I'm creating content, for the next quarter or what have you. And it's really just about that communication,
Right.
and really bring, and I think that's real key anytime. But even as a single, it's important that you have that balance. You don't just be all work. And trust me, I'm guilty as charged. I'm guilty as
Right.
charged. I'm like strict. I mean, if my wife doesn't say, "Hey, let's take a vacation," or if we don't plan it, it probably will not happen. Right?
Right.
Always
Right.
working, always on the go.
Yeah.
But it's important that we have that balance, and even in that balance, that we make sure we spend the time with family, but we also have even our time of personal development and self-care. You know what I mean? And really taking care of our health and things of that nature. So I think a lot of that plays into the balance and really being available and being sharp, right? Even mentally being sharp, so we can accomplish our goals and work in our businesses or what have you.
Yeah, that's real important. So if you're on here with us, the comments is open. We'll take some questions tonight. Like I say, we're just kind of doing a quick pop up, but we'll take some questions. We'll definitely share some news with you as we're wrapping through this topic right now, because I do want to chime in on that. One thing that I've learned about balance, it used to be when somebody would teach me work-life balance, they would have this pie chart and everything got equal piece of the pie, right? They had job, they had house, they had responsibilities in this area and that, and everything got equal. And I was like striving for a long time to do that, to get everything the equal amount of my time and attention. And that's not the reality. The reality is there's going to be times where there are some things that require more of your attention during that time or season than other things. Maybe you just started a job and you got to go all into that, and you got to have that conversation like DJ Strick said, like, hey, sweetheart, I got the new promotion these next 90 days. I got to be on the grind. I may be working 12 hours. So that means we got to cut back on some of maybe our recreational activities in the evening. Not completely, but that needs more time. I remember there was a time with my son, where, he was kind of battling things in school with just his sense of identity and, staying on track and not falling behind and stuff. And I was working 12 hours sometimes. So what I had to do, I had to find a way to go in a little bit earlier, knock out all the work that I need to knock out so I could come home and spend that extra time with him, getting him up to speed, and spending that one-on-one time with him, going to play catch, taking him to the mall. And so it's work-life balance is not everything gets an equal share of you. That's the point I'm trying to make, right? How you guys feel about that?
No, absolutely.
I have this thing that I've started, and I think God gave it to me about a year ago. And I know I do a lot of stuff, but for the rest of my life, I'm going to be teaching 4 things. Hopefully I'm getting the 4 in the camera right there.
We see it.
I'm teaching 4 things. So it's God first, then family, then health, and then wealth, and teaching them in that order. So, for people to not get it twisted, my relationship with God is the most important thing to me personally. All right. I want to be sure at the end of all of this work that I get a chance to see him. The second is my family. So my wife and my kids. Like, I want to dedicate my life to being the best person I could be for my family, brothers and sisters, my parents, my wife. All of that is important to me. And I have those things ahead of what's next, which is even my health. Now, I believe that the family comes before health, because guess what? Without health, you got to eat right. You got to exercise. You got to make sure that you keep yourself in a place to where you could be a benefit to your family. And then after that, you want to be sure your finances is right, your financial literacy, all your investments and everything. So when you're gone, really my plan is, I say wealth because I want it to be generational. I want to make an impact on my children's children, and keeping the order right is important to even get to that last thing. Because I feel like if you don't have God in your plan, God in your family, God in your health, he won't be in your wealth either. So those are some of the things that, I personally have that, Charles, we talked about your book earlier. Like, this is my book. This is my speak. Like, when outside of streaming stuff, this is what I speak about, those 4 pillars. And I call them the 4 pillars of love, because love is through all of those things. So I love my family enough to financially provide for them. I love my family enough to, and myself, to keep my health right. I love my wife and my kids enough to love on them. And I love God enough to spend time with him as well. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Y'all saw me with my notepad, right? I treat y'all, anytime I'm hanging with you guys, I treat it like I'm in like a clubhouse room, or I'm with my mentor. Like, I always have pen and paper standing by, because I know those jewels coming. But Free, you were about to say something?
Yeah. I was just going to piggyback off what Strick was saying. And I totally agree that it's got to be God first. And you have to line up those priorities. I think many times when people are dealing with balance, it's because they don't have things prioritized right. And so their priorities are out of alignment. And then us as men of faith, we have to make sure that our priorities are in line with what God's will for our lives are. Mm-hmm. And so, definitely God first. I used to always say God first, family second, and then people and everybody else. We're gonna throw that behind everybody else. But those two got to be first. Those two got to be first. God, and then your family has got to come. That was so key what you said earlier, Charles, about you had to readjust your actual schedule because you recognized that you need to spend more time with your children. It was the same way with me early on in ministry. The ministry that we came from, we were with that ministry from infancy, from the very beginning. We were one of the charter members. And so we were there. By the time we left, it was about 17 years. But early on in the ministry, just really helping them build, it got to a point where it was like, okay, I was at the church 24/7. I was the web developer. I was the minister of music, and I was over the video production and broadcast. And so all of that, you can imagine how overwhelming it was to do all of that stuff. And then still, it's a lot of work or what have you. And then my wife and I had a conversation. She was like, honey, you got to pull back. And, when mama speak, you got to move.
Right.
You got to move, And so I realized that. And so I made it a point. I said, you know what? I from that point on, I said, you know what? I'm never going to sacrifice the time, because we even pulled her off her job and made that sacrifice for her to be with our children at home, And so I was like, okay, since we made that sacrifice, I also have to make a sacrifice. And I vowed even from that day that even though I had never missed anything, I was like, I'm going to make sure that I never miss anything in their lives. So whether it's their chorus concerts, whether it's my oldest girl playing basketball or whatever it is, if I'm able to be there, then I'm going to be there. And I think many times, even as churchgoers, we'll put the church before we put our family. Right. And that's not biblical. That's not the order that God designed. And so we have to keep that in perspective and understand that. And so, a lot of times, you have individuals that are so focused on what the church is doing and all of this. And you have churches that are so busy that you don't have family time. And, one of the things we got to look at is say, no, we have to be good stewards over our family. So even if the church got stuff going on 24/7, we don't necessarily have to participate in everything that's going on. It's my responsibility to make sure that I cultivate the church at home or what have you, because that's where charity starts. And so I think it's real key to understand that we, balance as men of faith. It actually brings us to the point of understanding that our priorities have to be in alignment with what God wants in our lives.
Yeah, man.
I like that. Well, let me ask you guys this question. Like, we're faith guys, and we're also streaming. So why do that? Like, why are you guys streaming right now?
Charles?
Yeah. So honestly, I think streaming for me became one of those things. And we're going to go ahead. I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to bring in our boy, Alicio.
Cool.
So
bring him on in. We
Bring
live.
him.
Mr. We live.
The way, the truth and the life.
there he is.
Hey.
What up, my man?
What's going on, brothers? My bad.
What's up, man?
I don't know what happened, man. That's how it be, man. In live streaming, sometimes the computer took forever to boot up, and then the camera, one of my M50s, wouldn't give me a picture. I got to look at. It was crazy, bro. So, but thank you for having me, and you guys are so gracious. I really appreciate that. What did I miss? Catch me up.
Well, I think DJ Strick was just passing around the collection plate because we were about to roll out of here, but I wanted to give you time. No, I was just kidding.
No, we can still pass the collection plate.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say, it don't matter how late you get to church. Oh, you could have just missed it. They're gonna still pass that collection plate.
But no, man. So we were kind of talking about our day. We were talking about, being men, being family men, right? And, even though we're doing our thing in the streaming world, we still are family. So we was talking about the human aspect of things, Alicia, and work-life balance. And, DJ Strick dropped those jewels, God, family, health, and wealth, keeping that kind of order. And I was about to talk about, streaming, being a man of faith in the streaming world. But I was thinking about the sin of transposition. And I was at a time where I was doing more ministry in the church than I was actually doing ministry at home. And things were just out of alignment. And even though I was plugging away at pursuing God, right, and that seems like the right thing, I was doing the right thing in the wrong place because my family needed that spiritual nurture as well. And so you could be doing the right thing, but at the wrong place and at the wrong time, and you still will find yourself struggling. That's where I was at. And then I started to read up on the sin of transposition. That's when you take something that is not a priority and put it above something that God has set as a priority, right?
Wow.
And so I was trying to build, this brand and make myself who I am and all of these things in and out of the church. And I was like, I'm doing it for my family. And I'm coming back to DJ Strick question. I'm doing all this for my family, and I'm doing it, for faith, so people can come to know God and understand that. When I would hear people say, man, Charles, there's just something about you. You're just different. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, when you come into a room, you change things. It's just something about you. And I wanted that to come out in everything that I did. And so what was that thing? That was the fact I believe that I am a believer, right? And God puts things inside of us that just comes out and people sense that. And so I'm kind of doing my thing as a marriage coach, and I'm going online, and I'm doing what was the world's formula in terms of keep religion out of it, keep politics out of it, just post 1,000 times a day, whether you believe in what you're saying or not, because you got to get these algorithms up and go live all the time. And I was doing that, man. And I was exhausted, and we weren't getting anywhere. And then I kind of sat back and I reevaluated, why did I get into, these live streams and Facebook Lives to begin with? To serve God and serve people. I was on a podcast the other day, and at the end of the podcast, the dude was like, man, just before we go, who is Charles Jackson? And I sat there for a moment and I said, Charles Jackson is a son. I'm a son of God. I've been redeemed by him, right? And everything that I do is predicated upon my position in Christ to love him and love people. And so when I go live, when I speak, when we talk about marriage, when we talk about relationships, when we talk about streaming, it's hope that somebody will see something different and want to know what it is and lean into it, and hopefully be challenged to know that you don't have to do it the way this person did it. You don't have to be like the world. You can still be yourself and allow doors to be open for you and people to, rock with you, and you being your own authentic self and still be a believer.
Absolutely.
Man, I like that, brother. I like that.
Where's my mic? I gotta drop it one time.
Drop, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's good.
For me, it's kind of similar in some aspects. As far as streaming and everything. Of course, we, as business owners, what have you, we use that to provide for our families and things. But the bigger objective is really having impact, and as a believer, having kingdom impact. Whether it's through our church streaming. Whether it's through me personally streaming, even in business, I often tell people, even my business, I run that as a kingdom business, understanding that, the hard work I put in and the money that I'm making and all that, it's all going back into the kingdom. It's all going back to kingdom building, and really building that generational wealth. I tell people, look, I don't have time to be wasted on all these TV shows and reality shows and all of this. I'm trying to build a legacy. I'm trying to build something that'll impact the world. I often talk about that, that the importance of that third date. And people ask, like, what is the third date? We have our birth date with the day we was born, and we have the day we're going to die. Well, that third date is probably the most important day. That's what's going to do between that dash, right? That dash from the time we were born and the time we die. That's what you're going to be remembered by. How are you going to impact people's lives? How are they going to remember you? Are they going to remember you as a sad, mopey type person that never really did anything for anyone else? Or are they going to remember that they were struggling one day and they saw a live stream, and through that live stream, they were able to develop another income stream or what have you. And so now their life has changed, right? And even in that, they saw, okay, hey, I saw the Stream Kings one night, and they were talking about faith and how they intertwine that with even their businesses and their streams or what have you. And so I think it's great, one, that people are able to see, individuals like you guys and I, because we didn't see this a lot. Let's be honest. Even before the pandemic, we didn't see a lot of African-American actual streamers that were doing it. And watch this. It's not that they weren't out there. Many times we don't get a chance to actually be exposed to a lot of the African-Americans that are doing things on a major level. And so it's great that we have these platforms, and we're actually utilizing these platforms to really show those and really encourage and really push and push a passion into even the younger generation, to be able to see, hey, if they're doing it, this is something that we can do, we can utilize. Why? One of the things I always say, it's free technology. Yeah, we got to buy our cameras and all of that type stuff and everything, but the platforms are free. So why not use them to really build your platform and to really make a major impact in the world?
Wow.
That's good, man. When you say it's a free technology, all I could think about was Ray Charles in that movie. Talking about, this ain't free.
Man.
That's funny.
But that's good though, man. That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
I love how, I love how you said take your live stream and get a new income stream. That's phenomenal. I gotta put a pin in that, man. Get your live stream to get you a new income stream. That's amazing. And to your point, that is true. What's crazy is, a lot of people, kind of what you were saying, technology is free, or certain things are free. I know people personally that have taken a free software, right, or a free program, and with their will and their drive and determination, right, and relentlessness just to be successful, right, they have scaled their craft and their gift to a 6-figure income from something that was free. Right. I'd be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? That is crazy. So I come out of the music world, like producers, and it's real big when you're a young producer and you don't got money. A lot of times you get like programs, the crack version of a program, right? So, I have a few friends, no cap, that have like
Fruity Loops and all that.
Yeah, bro, you took it right out of my mouth. I have a few friends that took a free version of FL Studio when it was called Fruity Loops, right? Downloaded it, practiced their craft, and now they are, man, super famous producers. I'm hopefully can bring some of them on my show, but just to start from there and be like, bro, remember when you had a cracked version of a program? It was free. And I have another friend who's a graphic designer who downloaded a cracked version of Photoshop, right? He's a 6-figure earner. He's a 6-figure earner, right? So it's just like, it's amazing how some people, they can go out and spend all the money on these programs, but don't have the drive in them to succeed. Some people can get a free version of it and have the drive to succeed. So I think that's just amazing how you said the technology is free. The information in a lot of times is free. Sometimes I think a lot of people let the technology and the information actually overload them and actually paralyze them in a lot of ways. So it's how can you compartmentalize and organize the information, right? And then be able to execute with a game plan on how you can, take that information, organize it, and implement it, right? So I know that's where I kind of get stuck up at. So yeah, that's amazing. Good stuff.
So Lisa, let me ask you this question, man. How do you balance now? being a live streamer and a content creator? Like, how do you balance the two of those things?
It's a good
I say
question.
that
Man.
because you know, on this stream, you know, we're all African American men, and
Yep.
you know, it's an underserved market when it comes to streamers and content creators on YouTube. Like we're just not seen as often, and more
Yep.
importantly, not as much what you would say influence. Like you don't think about the influence that an African American male would have on YouTube. I mean, we have some of the biggest are on like at the top, but you always hear about some of the others more than some of the biggest YouTubers that are African American. So now, you know, balancing, trying to promote, trying to live stream, trying to create content that you can throw on YouTube to kind of get some traction with people. How do you balance that?
Is this question going around to everybody? Because I love to hear everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just starting with you because you
Nope,
kind of
just
leading,
you.
and I know No Charge has got some questions too. So I was just thinking about that as you were talking, and I was like, man, I would love to hear what Alicia has to say about this, because you do both. Like you live stream and you know, kind of create content.
But
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this first. Do you think I do it well, or do you think I do it good enough? Or that's the question.
Listen, I am an Alicia Wave fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I support this dude.
Well,
like, you my boy, man. I love what you do. I love the creators on the come up.
Appreciate
the latest project that you're doing, man. It is incredible. Like you're bringing some people with other influence into our ecosystem and showing them off and giving us all like really good information through your show. So I absolutely love it, man.
Wow.
Yes, to answer your question, you're doing a great job.
I appreciate it. You bringing the feels, so I gotta bring my sound effects.
There you go. There you go.
No, but
Alicia
so
Wave.
and the reason I say that, the reason I even asked that, because you have a lot of people who are doing a lot of things, right? But they're not particularly doing it well, right? So like my question was, well, first of all, do you feel like I'm doing a good job at it? Because if yes, then now I can answer the question from a different standpoint versus, well, you can tighten up, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, let me get this thing together first before I answer. But no, not to get too methodical on you, right? But as a content creator, as a creative period, as an entrepreneur, as a man with God-given talents and gifts that's deep down inside of him, right? The first thing that must be done is a foundation of what you will accept, what you would not accept, your vision.
Okay.
If that foundation ain't solid, then you will never be able to build upon that. So let me just go back a little bit. With me, all right, so and this is no knock to nobody else, but with me, when I was working like in a traditional job field, like a 9 to 5 on a job, that wasn't for me, and for how I get down, that wasn't a foundation for what I can build anything off of, because majority of my waking hours, right, are going towards something else, another vision, another dream versus my own. So I believe for a lot of people, getting a foundation of basically setting aside some time, setting aside some working time that you can dedicate to what you want to do. And then from that point, once you figure out, hey, I'm gonna do this 2 hours a day, 4 hours a day, 10 hours a week, whatever. Once you figure out what your time schedule is on when you're going to create, then basically you just being disciplined, right? And discipline is a hard thing. Like, I was just thinking today to myself, it's a difference between a skill set and a discipline, right? And I'll be thinking to myself all the time, like, a lot of people have a skill set, but they don't have the discipline. And a lot of times when they get that skill set, they'll get relaxed and slack, because if you think about it, you can't really get a skill set without the discipline to get there first, right? So you got to have both. You got to have the skill set and the discipline. So for me, how I balance it, going back to your original question, is I look at my negotiables and my non-negotiables. My non-negotiables is I'm not going to give up time with my family, my children. I'm not going to give up time with my faith. Those non-negotiables. Once I figure that out, then I reverse engineer. Okay, once that time is dedicated to that, how much time do I got left? Sometimes sometimes it ain't no time in a day. Sometimes it's, only an hour a day. Sometimes it's, whatever. And scheduling, y'all seen, I sent y'all a picture. I was just washing the dishes 15 minutes ago. So I think it comes down to really, one thing I'm learning is organization is just so key, like organizing. right? Organizing your thoughts, your ideas, and documenting, journaling, making voice memos. Like the more organized you can be and put a system in place, the better you'll be with your content creation. But if you're just throwing stuff at the wall, hoping it'll stick, maybe you'll get lucky one time, but you won't get lucky as often as putting a system in place, a process in place, attainable, sustainable, and repeatable. Any goal that you get has to be attainable, right? You have to be able to attain it. And then once you attain it, you have to be able to sustain it, like keep it, right? And then once you be able to sustain it, then you have to be able to repeat it. So those are three things I look for, like in a system. Can I attain it? Can I sustain it? And can I repeat it? Like that's the difference with McDonald's, why they're so successful, because a Big Mac in America tastes the same in the Big Mac in the UK and China. It's the same. It tastes exactly the same. You know what I'm saying? Because they found a system. So with you answering your question more specifically, how I'm able to do it is just being able to put systems in process and organizing and things like that.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
So as I said, I
man.
wanted to ask him that question, man. I'm gonna throw it back to you. I know you got some questions for all of us, and I just wanted to kind of get that out with Alicio, ask him about his balance. But
Yeah, no, we free flowing, man. I like that question. I'm attain, sustain, repeat. Like I put it in the chat. I'm like, just in case nobody else heard that. And Alicia, we was talking about you washing dishes before you even jumped on, bro.
It's real in the field.
So funny story. A couple of weeks ago, Alicio and I, we chatting. I'm waiting outside the barbershop, and I'm chatting with him about music and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, man, because before this I was doing music and I was rapping. We almost went to the same HBCU, and we had a common friend. And I was like, hey, bro, we're connected to this guy. And he's like, yeah, we grew up together. I almost went to Cookman too. Like, man, I was at Cookman. We would have been there at the same time. I said, why didn't you go? He said, well, I ended up, doing my music thing and made it pretty big. And then he drops, I toured with T.I. and Trick Daddy, and opened up for them. I'm like, what was the group name, bro? And he goes, we was called Trill. And I was like, and I was, no joke, I hit up my two boys from back home and I was like, y'all not going to believe who I'm talking with right now, because we used to listen to that song. I'm right from Daytona. So anybody in the music scene, we had a couple boys who were trying to make it. And so local artists, we would go to Orlando, we would follow him and that type of stuff. So when he said True, I was like, wait, no, he's not talking about the same group. But sure enough, I went and put up the video, pull up the song. I'm like, bro, this is you. He's like, man, that's me.
I don't even talk about that unless somebody asks, because in Florida we were pretty big in Florida. Like we, literally Thursday through Sunday, from about 10 years, man, Thursday through Sunday we were booked for about 10 years. I didn't know what a weekend felt like until I settled down, so that was good times. I almost ended up at Cookman. I went a different route, man. Just said, man, I'm gonna just jump into the industry head first and see what it do. But shout out to Stephen Holmes, man. That's the homie, man. That's the homie
Stephen Holmes, my freshman brother. We on that drum line together at BCC. So, but I brought that up because that was your kind of previous life, right? DJ Strick, I was going to ask you about being on radio and now, the Facebook Lives and broadcasts. How did that shift occur for you? Because you got an extensive background that I'm pretty sure people might not know about unless they're following you on your personal page. I know
I want to say to the Strick too, man. That show, man, you put on, bro. Oh my Lord, that's your lane. I'm pretty sure you know that already, but I think that's a lane that you can run in all day because it was so entertaining. It was so value packed, and I don't see that. I think that's a void right now. I think bringing back these guys that have those stories that you can listen to forever. Like I can listen to those forever, just those stories, man. I think you need to hone in, double down on that one, my brother, because that is super entertaining, bro. I just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah. So, he talked about balancing with you, Alicio, but you're doing radio stuff and then you also got this. So how did that come about for you, my friend?
So it's a long story, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna try to shorten it up as best I can. I never thought that I would be in radio. First of all, I grew up in Opelika, Alabama. We didn't have a radio station there that I knew of. We listened to stations in other cities that kind of bled into Opelika. So it was never like a job opportunity I thought I would do. God blessed me with ability to communicate verbally. And to be honest with you, I was in ministry doing youth ministry, and an accountant at the radio station was a part of that ministry, saw what I was doing. He said that the station was looking for somebody to run their Sunday morning show. It's like, man,
Wow.
I'm not working at that station. I'm not doing that. And because I never really did it before. Like literally, the summer before we had this conversation, I was just going with a friend to a radio station, and when he couldn't make it, I would just sit in. But it wasn't in my mind that this was going to be an occupation for me. I'm just, I just like to be around stuff and seeing new things.
Wow.
Lo and behold, I decided to do it. Went to the program director, had the interview, and I was just giving my testimony of why I didn't listen to the music he was playing and why I am now promoting this gospel hip hop. And it's like the craziest story you would tell somebody that, that's what they do. I'm saying that, well, this is what I do, but they liked it. They liked what I was doing. More importantly, I was in the city. I could speak. Let's put them on. I didn't have a clue about what I was doing. It took me about 2 years to find my voice. Did it for 13 years here in the city, and really started a movement for a lot of local artists. And I have, like Alicio, pro- uh, artists, producer friends all over the country right now that are doing some amazing things. I had a program director come in, and they did some changes, and it just wasn't fitting what I wanted at the time. Kind of got a little complacent because I've been doing it so long. Didn't really have in my mind at the time, I didn't really have a plan for it. And I believe God kind of set me down for a minute. So I got a chance to kind of do some other stuff and really got out of the scene of really producing shows, producing a radio show, got married during all this time. And I decided that, man, it's time to come back. But getting back into the industry is not as easy sometimes, especially when you're known. There's a lot of politics in it a lot of times. A lot of people, they have their plays, they have things going on. It just really was difficult. And I felt like God was continued to tell me, I want you to do your own thing.
Wow.
I want you to do it this way. I want you to do it. I mean, of course, like we're streaming now. I don't have to get approval from anybody to stream. We can say whatever we want to say. We can kind of go our own direction, build our own audience. And to be honest with you, people would tell you now is they're looking for people with an audience first anyway now.
Right.
They're not trying to pull people just because you got talent.
Yeah.
You say, well, I'm going to intern at the radio station. Like, you can intern at the radio station, but they're going to hire somebody that's got a Instagram presence. They're going to hire somebody that's got a YouTube channel.
presence.
All those things were, so it kind of pushed me this direction. And lo and behold, it's working. Like, building an audience, streaming. And I streamed with the Let's Get Live group over the holidays. So I think I got involved with them in November, and then December we did Vlogmas. And coming out of Vlogmas and doing all of that content, I had an opportunity with Ecamm to actually do a show with Brent Collins, who was actually in the same group. We kind of partnered together, and now we're the stream guys. Not that we didn't know the technical stuff, it's just we were kind of new to streaming. And that's how I'm here. Like, I'm really here because I wanted an opportunity to make an opportunity for myself versus going to one of the media conglomerates. And you guys know now, it's hard. From a sales perspective, there's not much going on the radio, television, all those things. All those markets are down because of the pandemic. But what's up? YouTube is up.
Right.
More content on YouTube, more traffic on YouTube than ever before. It's just, I'm in the lane right now, and I want to say this to all of us and everybody that's watching. If you're a content creator, or if you're thinking about being a content creator, there's no time better than right now to get started. Don't think that you're behind, where people been in it for a long time. There are more and more people coming onto the platform that haven't been there before. And who knows, you could be discovered by the work that you do now. There's still an audience out there that can find you, and not that, you want to blow up or anything, but you can gain an audience to get a part of partner program with YouTube, branding deals out there. If you are a content creator, if you are a talent in any way or technical in any way, there is an opportunity, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or any of those other platforms that you can get out. I just wanted to share that.
Man, yeah, that's good. That journey, right? It was a journey. It wasn't
Oh,
like
it was
no
definitely a
overnight
journey.
thing, you know.
It was definitely a journey, and I'm
often,
still on the journey. Like, I'm still on it. It's another wave,
right?
and I'm trying to ride the wave like Alicia as best I can.
Hey, hang on,
But
Man,
I
I
know,
heard,
right?
I heard Sean Cano say in a clubhouse room that, you know, the content creation, you know, right now, I guess I don't know how they got the stats. I really wish I'd have heard. You know, I tuned in when I heard him talking numbers, but I don't know if he said he got these stats from, you know, some type of magazine or something. But it was basically that, like, the number one rising small business type for 2020. The number one rising small business type for 2020 was content creation, content creators. That's crazy.
Right.
So I guess from the people who's filing their, you know, business structures and whatnot, when it comes back to it, they're seeing that their business structure is based around, you know, content creators, whether it's YouTubers and TikTokers and Instagrammers. Believe it or not, you know, content creation, that's the number one small business type right now. I don't know if it was America or the world, and it was like, of course, it was like in the millions, $1 million business, but $1 million industry. But he was saying more specifically that content creation, more specifically geared toward YouTube, employs over like 400,000 full-time, six-figure earning content creators. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, it was close to 400,000 full-time, six-figure or above content creators, and those numbers will double next year. You know what I'm saying? So when I heard that, I was like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? So do you want to be in that number that doubles? I do.
Right.
If you mean to tell me 400 more thousand people finna make six figures off of just creating content, why not? Why can't I be in that number? I can be one of the 400,000. Right?
One of the questions.
A lot of times, what people don't realize is, you know, they look at, okay, you got to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours and all that on YouTube, but it's all about being consistent. You know, like you said earlier, Alicia, having that actual systems and processes in place. And when you have that, then scaling anything that you do is so much easier, right? Instead of having to do all these different things and trying to, you know, piecemeal all these things together, it's have the systems and processes in place. And if you start from, everybody has to start from zero. Everybody has to start from zero. Now, you have some people that paid for subscribers and all that, and now they're being punished for it, right? And so start from zero, do the hard work. I always have a saying when I'm coaching individuals, I say, do the hard work one time and get paid the rest of your life for it. And so you want to make sure that you're putting the time in that's necessary to build it. And you don't have to have millions of subscribers to get to that six figures. Right. Once you get your messaging and things out there, now you begin to create content that people need. Right. They're the pain points that they're suffering with. I often say that people will pay you top dollar to shortcut their process. And watch this. Everybody has a specialty. You have something that you know that the next person wants to have. Right. The knowledge and the wisdom and understanding that you've learned over the years. You don't have to go to school for 4 or 8 years and learn all of this stuff and say, well, I've never been to school, you know, and so I don't know if people will listen to me. No, if you know 1% more than the next person, they're going to be willing to listen to you and learn what you have. I always say, hey, if a 5-year-old can teach me something, I want to sit down and learn it, right? And so you just have to take that mindset and understand that because sometimes, and the reason I'm saying is sometimes it can be overwhelming, right? I mean, people see, you know, like Alicia was saying about 400,000 six-figure earners, and they were like, well, you know, they sit back and like, man, I don't know if I can do that. Yes, you can. If we can do it as 4 African American brothers, you definitely can do it, right? We're successful in what we're doing. We're building our platforms. We're gaining momentum every single day, every single week on our platforms. But the key is being consistent and showing up. Right? Showing up for your audience. And when you do that, before you look up, you know, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, you realize that your subscriber count, your content is going everywhere. You got like DJ was saying, you got the brand deals coming in. People are now contacting you because they see that you have an audience that's not just there, but they're engaged as well.
Yeah.
We
had a question
another side. Well, is that your wife?
I was going to get to that one. We had one before that one. But if you were going to go and hit on content, that's fine.
Well, I wanted to say too, when you think of content creators and creation, you don't necessarily have to always think about the person in front of the camera too, right? Because we think about content creators as the character or as the person who's the the person, the character or the personality, right? But there's tons of content creators. I would probably say half of those 400 content creators are the people behind the camera, right? The people behind the scenes producing the content. So, and I can say with full conviction, I'm probably at about $50,000 myself just creating content. And that was, I won't say by mistake, because it's still a skill set I had, but it was not planned. I'll say that, right? You know what I'm saying? When the pandemic hit, it really exposed a lot of businesses, a lot of opportunity for brands, businesses that had no online presence, right? They have been shunning YouTube for years. They have been shunning Instagram and TikTok for years. I see more 60-year-olds on TikTok than I've ever seen in my life now since the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? But they get it. The wheels are turning now. So when we talk about creating content, we're just talking about packaging something that's getting a message out, right? Packaging something that's conveying something, right? Whether it's a business and you want to sell life insurance, that's one of my businesses is life insurance. How can I create, like me and my, I'm trying to think of how can I create a visual, a piece of content that will really put in people's life that you need life insurance. So I'm getting with a funeral home and I'm gonna like shoot a video with the casket right there and get some extras and people that be crying on the front row. And it's like, I'm just trying to think of a piece of content that I can create that I can do a Facebook ad around that it can just strike a chord with somebody. So kind of going into her question, what is content? Content is just creating a visual or some type of piece of relational, emotional, invested content that can draw people into your message, into your brand, into your business. And content creation right now is so needed right now because once again, people were relying on these old school tactics of just run some TV ads or run this or run that, not realizing that the audience ain't watching TV no more.
Right.
The audience ain't. So you got to go to where the people at. The people on TikTok. So you better make a piece of content on TikTok. People on Facebook make a piece of So that's all content creation is. So just really quick, I'm shutting up here. Don't always think about content as the personality or the character. Think about content as the people behind the scenes who's editing the videos, shooting the videos. These are that's probably half of the six-figure earners right there. You don't even know what they look like, but they're creating the content for these businesses. And I tell my friends all the time, bro, listen, I say this with full conviction. If you have a camera, if you even have a cell phone, right? I can tell you, bro, listen, anybody listening right now, you can call my bluff on this. You can inbox me if you think I'm just gassing you right now. If you have a cell phone and even basic skills, right? Go knock on 10 businesses' doors. 10. I guarantee you get at least one or two businesses that you can say, hey, listen, you don't have a YouTube channel. I'm going to show you the value in starting a YouTube channel. I'm going to show you the value in creating a Facebook group, a Facebook page. I'm going to take my cell phone. I'm going to shoot you some videos or edit some videos around your customers, your audience. I'm going to get some B-roll of you serving your clients. And I'm going to package that up and put that online and show you some value in how you can attract more customers to your business. I guarantee if you knock on 10 doors, you'll get at least one or two deals that you can, it'll blow your mind how lucrative that is. That's a very lucrative business model right now. Just creating content for other small businesses. Go ahead, my bad.
I was just going to say, he just gave y'all $1 million business right there.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Or at least a six-figure business, at least. You know what I'm saying?
Because here's the thing. This is how I look at it. I think about the passion that we have, right? So you have a passion for something. Mine is leadership. Mine is leadership and building healthy relationships across the board. That's what I do, whether it's talking about raise, whether it's doing leadership consulting for a Fortune 500 company. It's all about relationships. And so I sit down and I record a video on how to rid your team of workplace conflict, right? It's a 30, say, second or 60-second video, but then I also write it out 1, 2, 3 step, and that goes on LinkedIn, and that goes on Instagram with a picture of a man and a woman who look like they're having conflict, but then there's a note under it on how you can resolve it. And then that goes out, and then it goes on Facebook. And so now that one little how to resolve workplace conflict amongst your teams, that becomes content that I put out there. And at the end, there's a, hey, here's my model. Connect with me, DM me, go to my website, learn the model, bring me in for a lunch and learn. I just put that content out on all of those platforms. One topic, one teaching was just repurposed for Instagram, for LinkedIn, for Facebook, and for a YouTube video. And then that is content. Like you say, it's not a personality. It's really the information that you have that you're sharing with somebody else. Bringing it together nicely, though, is a skill set, right? Bringing together how we were talking about, where it drives a point. You pull them in, you tell them why they need it, you tell them how you can help them with it, show them sort of that end result. And then that moves people, that moves you, your business, your brand, but it also moves people from being stuck where they're at with like, man, I've been trying to figure out how I can use Facebook ads to earn some money. Well, Jermaine was just talking about that last week. He put some content out. I grabbed a hold of it. I looked through it. I read it. I watched the video. Boom, here I am. So it's just about that information to me. How you bring it goes back to your personality. Everybody can't be in front of the camera, right? My wife really don't like to be in front of the camera, but she can write. She writes a blog. And when she writes, people talk about how they were impacted by her blog. Okay, now we got to take that a little step further. We can take that blog, we can package it up, repurpose some of it, and you can start a support group maybe on Facebook surrounding the topic that she talks about. And that's another way to get that content out, grow her little community, and who knows what that can turn into. And so I'm just sharing that to say that it doesn't have to be you in front of the camera.
If I call my wife a little community, I would have got in trouble. You got to say community, bro.
Her community. But
my wife gonna be like, little community.
What do you mean?
Grow her community. But think about your lane, right? Your space, what you need to do. One of the questions that came in earlier was about hurdles that we've had to overcome. But David gave us a shout out. As awesome as the overlays are, when you have 4 people with good cameras, mics, and backgrounds, less is more. I love this. So no overlays tonight. But he said he loved the look. So that's good feedback.
Shout out. Is that David Blackman?
It is.
Yeah, David Blackman.
Shout out David Blackman. He's a GOAT, man. I got to get with you, bro. I've been meaning to get with him. He was one of the few people. I believe I heard him on Clubhouse. Like before I even knew who he was like, he came up on stage and he said something on Clubhouse, and everything that he was saying was ringing my ears because it's everything that I've been preaching, as far as like taking control of your like intellectual property and getting off these social sites and stop giving them all of your, intellectual property without necessarily harnessing that, in your own way. So when I heard him in Clubhouse, this was like a couple months ago, and I was like, yeah, he's definitely on to something. So shout out to him, man. I got to get with you ASAP, bro.
For sure. All right. So hurdles, Jermaine, I want to hit you real quick. Oh man, you're a pastor. I don't know. Do you do your Sunday service live broadcasted? Right. And was that something that's a recent shift?
So yeah, we're a new church plant, and so our in-person services was supposed to start in October of last year. Then of course, March came around and kind of hit, and so everything was shut down. And so instead of waiting, God spoke to us and said, "Start virtually." And build that audience virtually. One of the things that one of my partners said to me, one of my fellow pastors, he said, "Hey, if they won't come hear you, while you're online, they definitely ain't coming to hear you in the physical church." And I said, "Yeah, you're right, yeah." And so I said, "Well, let me just build this engine, and everything." And so, literally, what we do, of course, having that in and of itself was a hurdle for us, especially as a new church plant and everything, limited resources or what have you. But I always tell people God he'll do this. He'll just set you up all your life for your purpose, in that end result, building that vision and what have you. And going back to what I was talking about earlier about handling the web design and the video production and the music ministry at my previous church, it really set me up for now, with my current church now with our church plant. where I didn't have to worry about forking out all of the money to have somebody create an intro for me or do the video production, the music ministry. My family, we're singers. I'm a producer and writer and songwriter and musician myself. So all of that was here, right? It was all here built into my family because of, doing that. But the hurdle that does bring is because I'm like, I think it was either DJ Strick, it might have been you or at least I can't remember who exactly said it, but it was talking about even the presentation about what we present. And I think it was Alicia was saying when he was talking about content and setting that standard of where your content is going to be at and then being consistent in that. And that was one of the things that we wanted to do out the gate is say, you know what? Yes, we're a new church. We may have limited resources, but I want our broadcast to look world class, right? So in spite of us being in a home situation, how can we best optimize what we have? And then on top of that is we're offering it to God, right? And so I always want to give God my best, regardless of what my resources may look like or what I often used to say, excellence is doing the best you can with what you have, right? So I don't look at the next church. I don't look at what the next choir is doing. I don't look at what the next musical artist is doing if I know this is what I have. So if you got a Logitech Brio, optimize that Logitech Brio, right? If you have a Blue Yeti, optimize that Blue Yeti until you can get an SM7B or you can get a pod mic or whatever the case may be. And so, one of the hurdles was really being able to adjust our time. Right. Again, and when going back to that previous conversation about the balance and the balance of life, balance of streaming, balance of our businesses and family, that put another hurdle in there. You're building, and for myself, I got 2 businesses that I'm building outside of the ministry. And then, of course, we got the family stuff going on. My wife was working at the time. She's now working in the business now. But my daughters, they're very active. And so they're doing things, development for teen development and all this type of stuff. And so you have so many different hats. And so the main hurdle is saying, okay, look, reprioritizing, where we talked about it earlier, reprioritizing. Okay, this has to come first and really putting that on the schedule. One of the things that really helped me was to really look at my schedule and just blocking time off, doing time blocking and say, okay, this is what's going to happen here. Of course, there are some things that are just non-negotiable, right? We got to have prayer time. We got to have meditation time. We got to have study time for the word and spend our time with, with God or what have you. But okay, outside of that, what are the other things that I can put aside now that I don't necessarily have to do right now that I can replace with this actual time? So the pre-production and understanding that. And so now we've kind of got it as a well-oiled machine, right? So we know that we're going to do our pre-records for our welcome and first-time visitors and the actual praise and worship. And then I come on live, and so through that whole process, we're still optimizing. So like even with our post-production, where I was doing the lyrics in post-production in Final Cut Pro and would pull in the Photoshop files and all of that. And so it just came a hassle. So instead of doing that, we said, okay, let's optimize our time. Again, everything is all about optimizations and really overcoming those hurdles. And so that was a hurdle for us because we were trying to find the time to put the lyrics into Photoshop. Then I have to pull them in and cut them up and all this stuff. And so now we're using, the other software that we had already purchased, Proclaim, which is a presentation software. And we're actually piping that into Ecamm Live and just switching live. Right, just switching the lyrics and stuff live instead of having doing that in post production, and so it's real key to really recognize that. I think a lot of times people don't want to sit down and say, okay, what are my challenges? What are the hurdles? And really recognizing those. So now I see that's the hurdle. Now, how do I overcome that hurdle? Going back to our first stream when I went over those 3 different sites: hindsight, insight, and foresight. And so when you have those and you understand how each of those apply to your situation, now you're able to optimize your systems and your processes and, really optimize your time and all of those things as well.
Yeah, man. Time, I think, will be the hurdle that I would throw out there too. Because sometimes I think I take on too much and want to conquer the world, and there's just not enough time in the day. And we got to, like we were talking in our opening, have those priorities straight. And
right.
Like even we were in our chat, right? And my wife sent this long list of stuff I needed to do. And the first thing DJ Strick said to me was workflowy. And I was like, I mean, I got it listed out on my little notes thing, do this, but a tool that can help you, you know, kind of organize that stuff so you know what you actually have time to do. So I think that's big. Time would definitely be a hurdle for me. In the when we were talking about repurposing your content for different platforms, one of the questions that came in was, is it necessary to have a presence on all platforms? Alicio, you chime back in the chat saying no, but you know, if you were to have a presence only on one, you recommend YouTube. You guys want to elaborate on that live, that comment and that question?
Yeah,
Well,
I totally
YouTube.
agree with that.
Yeah,
go ahead,
I
Alicia.
say YouTube because it's for me. You know, I did an interview with the Onyx family, and you know they have 6 million subscribers. And one thing that they said that I never thought about until they said it was, YouTube is the only platform that you can get on that you can advertise whatever you want to advertise, essentially your business, right? And YouTube will pay you to advertise your business, right? Think about that. He said every other platform, Facebook, Instagram, they charge you to advertise your business. YouTube will pay you to go on YouTube and say, hey, I'm DJ Strick. Check out my new shirt line. Check out this. Check this out. And you build an audience. And not only can you build an audience and get paid from your services, but then YouTube will turn around at the end of the month and give you another check for doing a good job at bringing people on the platform and advertising your stuff. Right. So when they said that, I was just like mind blowing. They said that that was so, but to add to that, you know, in just my own words, YouTube is built more centralized around actually building a business. In my opinion, there's so many segues you can go off into once you build a YouTube audience that is monetizable versus these other lower intent to buy platforms. In my opinion, I call them lower intent to buy because they're not searching for you on the platform. People don't go to Facebook to search for you. Mm-hmm. They don't go to Instagram to search for you. On YouTube, 9 times out of 10, of course, YouTube suggests content to people. Don't get me wrong, but 9 times out of 10, if someone lands on your video, you know how they got to your video? I mean, I'll let y'all answer that. How did somebody get to your video?
Lisa, I'm still trying to figure out how people get to my video, but I know a lot of times I'm pushing people that way, and a lot of my traffic is actually coming from Facebook. Like they're searching from me because they know like a video was on Facebook and they are trying to find it.
Well, I have a lot of people hit me up, DM me on like LinkedIn and Instagram and say, do you have a YouTube channel I can watch your videos? Because I like the little snippet that I put either on LinkedIn or Instagram. And then I'll share it with them.
Gotcha. So the short answer is that they search for you. That's the short answer. If they land on your content on YouTube, the short answer is they search for you. And a lot of times people who search for you, they have a higher intent to be more invested into you and your brand and whatever you have to offer. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, YouTube is built around people searching for you. And when they find you, the community that you foster with them and being able to turn around and turn those searchers into, you know, clients. So that's why I say YouTube.
DJ Strick.
I like it. I would say it really depends on what you're trying to do, like your end goal and where you are in the beginning. So in the beginning, if you have 0 subscribers, but you got 200 people that you know on Facebook, it'll behoove you to try to get the attention of those 200 people that you have on Facebook and shoot them over to YouTube. All right. So you make some content for people to say, hey, I'm over here. And then you say, hey, I want you to go over there. If you're into fashion, if you're into makeup, if you're into hair, you know, Instagram may be a good place for you to start as well because of the traffic of all those people that are there and say, hey, for my full tutorial, go to YouTube, you know, so it's the same thing Alicia is saying, but you may have to start using those other platforms that you may already have numbers with, or it may be easier to start with some traction to send them to your YouTube channel.
Depending on your niche.
Depending on your niche, or if you're somebody like me, guess what? I made my platform on Facebook. So my platform or most of my audience is there. I started a YouTube channel around the same time. I just didn't work it like I should have. So now I have that battle of every time I go on Facebook, I have numbers and I'm trying to get those people to follow me on YouTube to find the YouTube channel. So I'm having to do that balancing act as well because it's so easy to go on Facebook and get all the numbers and people are watching you. And it's like, man, I did it. But in the long run, pushing them to YouTube over time to where you can get into that partnership program and you can get paid for actually building content is what you want. So that's why we're all saying YouTube. It's the floor of entry is lower for their partnership program than any other platform. So Facebook has ways that you can get monetized. But man, they're asking for 10,000 people, followers before you can even get started with that. And that could be a lot for someone that's just getting started. So it's easier to kind of build your YouTube channel. But I would say try your best to use the platforms that you have and funnel them to YouTube. But if you have to say, if I'm just going to do one, focus on YouTube. It'll be a great way for you to just start at ground zero and build it all the way up. And then you'll see the fruits of your labor faster there than anywhere else.
Yeah. And I was going to kind of just to piggyback off what Strict and Alicio were saying. Exactly. So what I would say is YouTube +1. And what that means is where does your audience reside? Right. So as a marketing consultant, I always tell people, okay, where's your audience? Who is your audience? So you definitely got to know who your content is designed to reach. And then where do they reside at? So like he was saying, if you have hair or photography and all that, and that's the type of content you have, Instagram
And they reside where the money is. That's where they reside.
And so, you want to make sure that, because those types of individuals are on Instagram because it's more about photography. It's more about the images and things of that nature. And so you want to have that in addition to YouTube. And like you were saying, you want to make sure that you're building those at the same time. There's certain audiences that won't be on certain platforms. For instance, most young people are not on Facebook. They're not on Facebook. Matter of fact, they think we're old people when we're on Facebook.
We are old people. We are old people.
And so they don't necessarily really be on Facebook, but they'll be on Snapchat, they'll be on TikTok, they'll be on Instagram. And so knowing what audience you're trying to reach is really important in that strategy as well. But definitely have that again as a YouTube +1. So you definitely want to build your YouTube and then say, okay, what other platform is my audience really on, or what have you?
Yeah. And I want to end with one last thing, Charles, before you make your statement. At the end of the day, for everybody that's listening, and we've talked about ways that you can get seen and pushing everybody to YouTube, please be sure you have a website. Please be sure that you have a way to capture emails and to keep your audience or connection with your audience, and through lead generations, or hey, if you want to contact me or get with me, give them your email address and ask them to email you and start collecting email addresses. Because one thing we always say, what if YouTube goes away? What if Facebook, does something else and you can't get access to, what you normally have access to? Instagram is definitely controlling what you can do on their platform. So at the end of the day, try to find ways to definitely get monetized, but also control your audience or get to a place where you can be in control of the information that your audience gives you.
Yeah.
So tell us why, DJ Strick, why is that important, having capturing emails of folks who are following? Like, what are you going to use those for? So just in case somebody's listening.
And that's a good question. So when you are collecting email addresses, number one, that's the first thing that Facebook and all the other social media platforms did, was collect email address, because that's a way to directly contact people. There was a time where they thought, well, phone numbers were best, but people started changing phone numbers, and guess what? The email address stayed the same. Email marketing is the number one form of marketing today. All right. So if you are building an audience and you actually have a product that you can sell, and you could actually send out an email that's not as salesy, but saying, hey, if you have this problem, these are some of your solutions, and press this button to actually buy this product to help you, and you directly email that to somebody's inbox, to a good email address. I mean, there is gold in that. So we're doing all of this advertising to actually build a clientele, a book of business, email addresses, so we can have direct contact with our customers. All right. So one day, I'll tell you this. I was watching Roberto Blake today, one of the top YouTubers, and he actually said something I never heard before. What is your YouTube exit strategy? Like, I'm trying to get into YouTube. What do you mean exit?
You're talking about exit strategy, right?
But it's only so long that you can actually continue to create these bits and pieces of content. And if you are a real business person, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an investor, the best business for you to invest in is one that you can make money and not be at. All right. So you should always be thinking about whether it's digital products or any type of investment you can make into a business that will make money for you at the highest level that you do. It's the rich dad, poor dad model. You know, that's what it is. You're trying to always get there, whether it's real estate or anything else. So actually having direct contact with your customers, if you have a digital product that you can sell, tutorial, a book, ebook, or anything like that, being able to directly connect with them is better than making content and putting it out there and hoping YouTube will actually find suggested people to actually give it to.
Man, that's one of those gems.
I hope that helped.
Hey, that's one of those nuggets, folks, where I hope you guys heard and was taking notes, because having them email list, people who have said, I like what you're doing, I need more of that, here's my email, send me more, right? And engaging them with that in that way. It's goal. 2014, when I first started, doing this, that was one of the first things that my team said to me when I was really learning this, like, hey, we're going to set up an email campaign. I was doing a webinar, and they put my webinar on hold for like 2 days because they wanted to set up an email campaign. I'm like, look, we've been planning this webinar. We're ready to go. And it was like, no, you don't have an email funnel and a campaign set up. It's like, what do I need that for? And they schooled me. And it's just been a way to, when I send out stuff and I share things, folks engage and they respond back to me, and they reply back to it. It's again, you are building a community that really is rapping with you. So they're not looking like for leadership and they're going to 1,000 people. They're coming to me because they're riding with me. And so what DJ Strick just shared, if you were not listening, please watch the replay and catch that again. Monet Bell said, I stumbled on this pop-up tonight. So glad I did. James Hicks, these brothers are dropping the truth. And Michelle Andrews, passive income. Yes, sir. Exclamation mark.
I would say too, of course, it's good to get the email list because you want to be able to have a point of contact off of these platforms, right? So that's a mindset to have. I want to be able to have a direct point of contact to my audience off of any of these platforms, right? But also another reason why you want to get their email list is because most of the time when, like Strick said, what's the first thing these social platforms get from them? Their email.
Absolutely. So
when you get into doing Facebook ads or any type of advertising, you can set up audiences based off their email. So instead of doing like boost campaigns or these other lookalike audience, you can make direct campaign audiences uploading the emails, and your advertisement will follow your audience around online and just show it to them. Do you know how powerful that is? And I think I've seen a stat that someone has to see your advertising 7 or 8 times before they actually take action. And it's not because they don't want to buy what you have. It's just because, oh man, that looks dope. And the baby start crying, oh, that looks dope. And they get sleepy. Oh, that looks dope. Oh, the boss called, right? So around the 8th time, that's finally when they're like, oh man, let me just go ahead and get this, So getting their email is just a good way to really have strategic marketing campaigns to just go directly to your audience. So I just wanted to drop that in there.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool. It's like, Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah, that's vitally important. I've seen, I'm a witness to it. I've seen individuals that were on Facebook, had built $1 million businesses on Facebook, and Facebook shut down their ad account, and so now they lost all that income overnight, or what have
Wow.
you. And so it's like really critical that you build an asset, right? Facebook is not our asset. We don't own it. We don't have the rights to it, and so you want to pull them off of the actual platform. One of the things that we always talk about in internet marketing is that for every email, at the very minimum, every month, it should be $1. So imagine if you had 10,000 people on your list. Now you have the ability to offer them products and services that you wouldn't necessarily have the ability to do online and everything. And so it becomes vitally important. Literally, I know guys in the internet marketing realm that they create $27 products, but because they have an email list of like 600,000 people, they could send out one email and make $500,000. It's kind of crazy, based on the price of their product, because they've already built the strength of their email list, and they keep their audience engaged, right? So you don't just offer them offers all the time.
All the time, you're trying to sell them,
value.
right? That's not,
You gotta sell them. You offer them value. I mean, and it's a strategy behind it all, or what have you. But if you're offering them that value, and like Charles was saying, and you're building that community is, you're creating a community of raving followers, raving fans, because you have really impacted their lives through the content that you're sharing with them. And so when you say I got a new book out, or I'm doing this virtual event, guess who's going to sign up? It's going to be those that you've been communicating with normally through that email or what have you.
Go, man.
So can I blow your mind with something really quick, guys? And this is Charles, you may have somewhere to go. I'm gonna make this really quick so
brother,
you can ask your next question. Are you guys familiar with the NBA tops, like the new thing that's out? NBA tops. So you guys know what trading cards are right? So there's a company that just established, right? And I'm thinking I'm getting their name right. NBA tops. Well, anyways, now they're doing what they call moments. So you don't get a card, but online you buy a moment, and that moment would be
NBA.
Say that again.
NBA Top Shot.
That's it. So basically, you buy a moment. It's LeBron James shooting a 3 in the game. All right, that's a moment, and you just see him doing it, and he shoots the 3. And people like, this is revolutionizing trading cards, but it's all online. The servers are down. People are buying this stuff up. They have made millions of dollars over like several months selling these moments, and people are now trading these cards for these moments for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Online. Like, they can't keep the site up. That's how popular it is. And it's still in the beta. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is I want to help people open their minds to new technology, to new things, to new ways that you could actually create some type of monetary value for yourself that people would be interested in. Like, I don't know how they came up with this. Like, who even owns the moment? It would be an NBA moment. You know, how are they taking a clip out of the game and actually sell it? So it comes in a pack. So they release the pack. The pack, just like the cards, will have so many moments in it, and you'll take that pack and you'll have a bank of your moments that you can then resell.
So for clarity, what's the proprietary information that I have? Is it these video clips, these short clips? The video clips, I own them basically because I bought it.
You own the video clips, and then you can resell that in what they call the marketplace.
Wow.
And you know, I have my older sons, they're in it. They kind of got in on the first leg of it, and these guys resold. Let's say they spent $150 on the packs, which I don't even think they spent that much money. Like, one of them traded the cards inside of the system, and he didn't even trade all of his cards. $5,000. $5,000 was his net off of just some of his cards that he resold. So I'm like, well, it's nothing. I got a couple $100. Let me just throw
Well,
something
let
over
me
here and
go.
see what
Let me go on
happens.
a mattress. Here, son. Here's a
Then
couple
again,
hundred more.
but it's just a video clip, and I'm not saying I'm not saying invest into this. You can look at it and see what's happening.
Right.
It's trading cards. If you're not into trading cards, you don't understand that world, or you don't understand this, it's okay. What I'm saying is there's so many opportunities for you if you are a creator, if you have a product, to get out in front of people. Like these guys had to go to investors and say, yeah, we're just going to take 10 seconds and actually put it up online and sell it at this moment, and people can trade that moment, and we can make millions off of that. Like this business plan is like so foreign to anything that is out right now. You can do it too. I'm not saying making moments, but what is it that you have that's unique to you that you can actually duplicate, that people can buy? What can you scale in your production, your creativity, that people could buy and support you? And who knows what'll happen? And if you're smart enough to say, hey, I got a great foundation, I got a great product here, I just need to scale it, and you can go to somebody else that can give you capital to scale it, and then you could then go to market with it. The sky's the limit now. Like everything has changed. You have opportunities if you're willing to do the grinding part to build. Be thoughtful. Use your creative mind to build something, some talent that you have. You know me. Well, you guys may not know. Alicio knows. I'm like the Facebook Marketplace guy. I want to buy used items on the low. It's always a way to kind of move things around so you don't pay full price for stuff. And then you can sell it for, because sometimes people just want to buy from people they want to buy from.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, going back to the NBA moments thing, that's really fallen into a class and a category. And I kind of went down that rabbit hole of where you have like cryptocurrency, and then they have another asset they're calling, it's like a digital asset, like NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So they have a lot of music artists even, and actual like painting artists that they're making these NFTs, and these are kind of similar to the moments. They're just these digital real estate assets that people invest in, that they own forever, and that they accrue interest or time or value over time, to where, like, I was in the room in Clubhouse the other day, they were saying, hey, sell an NFT with your concerts. And what does that NFT even entail? Well, it entails this and that, background footage of you in the studio, this and that, and it's like a digital little asset that they would get. I don't know if they get it on like with some type of card or something, but they'll always own that moment on that NFT forever. So yeah, definitely look up the NFT industry. They're saying that it's going to revolutionize everything, and it kind of falls in that class, like what you're saying with the moments, the NBA moments. I would look at that like one of those NFTs, those non-fungible token type deals. And I heard that that's gonna like blow up right now. So definitely
Who knows if we're on the verge of something brand new. I mean, what do we like? We started with just a photograph. And social media was built off pictures, and then social media then is built off videos, and now social media is built off streaming, and this is what we're doing today. But what if a celebrity not stream but just give you a moment? Celebrities are getting involved into the streaming, and guess what? They're saying happy birthday to Charles.
Right.
You can get that right now. I mean, things are changing rapidly, and what I don't want people to do is miss the boat. It's kind of like, I know as a kid, when we would go through those recessions and our economy, a recession, coming out of a recession period is when most investors make most of their money. Because you can get into the market when it's really low and then rise with the market. This whole recession is where they lose money. No, some people have lost money, but people that understand the cycles have already pulled back on their investments. And then when it starts to climb back up, they put it back in and they make more money. We have an opportunity right now. I call Alicio the Renaissance man. And if you know anything about the Renaissance, in my understanding, you guys correct him if I'm wrong, but I think the Renaissance started right after the Depression.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a Renaissance that will happen.
Yeah.
in technology, in entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
in the
Right.
arts. People now are thirsty for entertainment. They will be thirsty for entertainment like never before when this pandemic is over. They're going to get out of the house. They're going to pay
Yeah.
top dollar for it. They're going to
Mhm.
enjoy it more. They're going to have
Yeah.
the best time ever. But if you're not positioned to be able to get into that, coming out of that recession, coming out of this pandemic, you may miss out. And all I'm saying is don't miss an opportunity. Strick has already told you it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah. One of my
Absolutely.
biggest stocks is Dave and Buster's, and what's the Airbnb? Yeah, when
Yeah.
everything went down and people stopped traveling, I put money in the Airbnb. Man, I've made so much money because it's just going up. I check it every day.
Wow.
It's just going up and up. So you're right,
Wow.
man. People who understand the times, they know where to put certain money in, and all these industries are coming back. So if you were to
They're
able to get some
coming
of these
back.
chairs for dirt cheap,
It's a cycle.
man.
Everything in the world is a cycle. We see our young
Yeah.
people doing the dances we used to do. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they ain't doing all the dances we used to do.
Thinking it's a brand new dance. I'm like, no, we were doing that back in the 80s and 90s. What you talking about?
Yeah.
But it's all
See,
cycle. I mean,
y'all call it the stanky leg. We used to call it the funky chicken.
right. But
Oh,
even
man.
you know, speaking of what Strick was talking about, I mean, that's so key to people to understand. Even just looking at the pandemic and looking at how many businesses were launched because they had the foresight to see, okay, I already know there's going to be a mask restriction. Let me go ahead and start creating my own handmade mask and all this type stuff. And so now they've created six-figure businesses just from masks, you know, understanding that even in a pandemic, there's an opportunity to do something that no one else is doing. You have people that got laid off their jobs. And you know what? I'm not going to just sit here and die. No, I got to still pay this mortgage. I got to still do these other things. And so what are the creative things that I can do to make money? And not only that, but to impact the world. I think even though Strick said he doesn't know where it came from, but if you look at the model of this NBA Top Shot, I got to believe that they kind of looked at that and was like, you know what? The people are really searching for that emotional connection to the NBA, right? And all of that. And they probably say, you know what, this is something that we can actually package together and allow them to get that actual emotion and that rise from the top moments that they've enjoyed over the years. You know, so now I don't have to go to YouTube and search for it and you know, see this secondhand stream or what have you that looks all raggedy and all of this. I can come and get the top-notch HD quality moment and not only own it, but then resell it to make more money. That's genius to me, man.
Right. I think it's genius too.
It's like those men in a visit car. Like we were talking
Right.
on our first reading, men in a visit car. It was funny because it's just there's a shift. At the end of the day, there has been a shift. Like when Blockbuster around and then Redbox and Netflix came about, like there has been a shift, right? And we have to be aware of it and find out where we fit in that and make our shift, make our pivot, not lose ourselves, maybe even discover things about ourselves we didn't know. But there's a shift right now that's occurring. And if we kind of sit on the sideline passive, we'll get left behind. And something popped up on my Instagram the other day. It was the lady from Shark Tank, Lori. And she's having a conversation. So I figure, this must be about finances. You know, let me learn some money tips. And she's sitting down having a conversation with I think her name is Adley. She's a Instagram person where she does these short films, but it's all comical and it's entertainment. She had like 722,000 followers, but she is really funny. And she was sharing her story because she was on The Voice and that didn't work out. And she got scammed by her manager and ended up rock bottom and then had this big comeback. And she was sharing her story. And I was like, why is Lori doing this? Like at first, but I was like, okay, she understands, the time and she's connecting in a different way with her audience and her followers. And so last week, I probably had about 15 videos pop up on my YouTube suggestion. It was all moments from Curry's top three-pointers, right? And they just kept happening. Or moments from the Warriors last week, best dumps. And I was like, wow, these little moments videos popping up. But now that you shared that, it made sense. That's the wave now, and people are on it. And so now YouTube creators who I used to watch like Warriors game highlights, they're just doing moments now, even because they understand, again, I got to get in on this, of the Warriors top defensive plays for the week versus giving me the highlights that I used to get the full 9 minutes. But that's another story.
Right.
So all great points, man. All great points. I know we could wrap all night. I was taking notes. We covered a lot tonight. We talked about balance, work-life balance, family balance, being black men, but just being men of faith. Also, we talked about hurdles. We talked about having your priorities together, content, creating it, what it means, repurposing it. We talked about mailing lists. We talked about understanding the time. We talked about automation. We've covered a lot during our time. How do you guys want to land this thing? What are your final thoughts before we get out of here and say good night to folks who have been rapping with us all night? Appreciate the questions that have come in and all you who have held in there this hour and a half. What do you guys have?
I got something, if you don't mind. On the next couple of weeks, I need you to write down a couple of dates, if you don't mind. March 3rd, March 10th, March 17th.
I already know he going.
4th, and March 31st. There is a weekly lineup for creators on the come up.
Nice.
My man, Alicio Way's YouTube show. You do not want to miss it. All right. For details, you can go on the Alicio Way's page. That's Alicio Way 3 or 2. How many is that? 3. And or you can go to my page, Strict City, and you can see where I shared it. And all of the people, all the guests that he's having are people that can help you. They have great value when it comes to content creation, what's going on YouTube, how to better what you're doing. So the name of the show is Creators on the Come Up. So if you're a creator and you want to know how to be on the come up, that's the show for you. Alicio Way. I gave you the dates. The times are, Alicio, can you help me with the times? Do you know when these shows will be on?
Yeah, 9 p.m.
Do you have any insight?
Time.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah. See, Strick is such a professional, man. He don't let nothing get past him. You know, that's what I gotta say. Strick. Strick say that I always be 2 steps ahead. Well, for Strick, I'm gonna say he don't let nothing get past him. He's already thinking in his head.
I'm just 2 steps behind. I'm gonna catch it, but I just see it later. Listen, I gotta say this, and I know all of us have our own respective things that we're bringing to the table. Alicio has I actually got into the stream. I was already streaming doing my show, but into the Let's Get Live crew, into doing these live streaming inside of the community with Alicio Way. So I credit him for that, and I was just really coming on their show.
I don't know if I would say that, bro.
I credit me coming onto your show one night. You was like, hey, if somebody's on and they just want to come on for a second, and I was like, hey, I ain't got nothing going. Let me go see what Alicio's got going on. I didn't know Alicio, like I didn't know him at all. I knew Alicio just by being in some of Doc's comments when I would be watching Doc's lives, and Alicio would be there, and I'm like, well, Alicio's live. Like, I don't know Alicio. Who's Alicio? So he's there. Hey, you want to come on? I said, yeah, let me come on. We got to talking, and to be honest with you, like, we've been friends ever since. Like, it's really strange to meet somebody from Orlando. I don't know. I've never met him in person, but because of, I guess you would call it like a kindred spirit. Like, we've been together, and a lot of what I've been able to do, we just think alike. We really think alike. He's still 2 steps ahead of me, and I'm always playing catch up. But I love the fact that he's a go-getter. He's a real creator, and he doesn't allow barriers. Like we talked about that earlier. He doesn't allow barriers to stop him for what he does. Like, what does that mean? If it's something he don't know, he'll just go pay for it. He'll just go buy it or have somebody create it for him. And he has it. Like, where'd you get this? Oh, you know, my team, they made it for him.
Right, my boy.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but he doesn't allow obstacles to get in the way of him creating. And I love that. Like me, I just try to create it and it doesn't look good, but I created it and I'm moving forward. But I love the fact that, you know, I will say this again, like I credit that time that we got on, because that one day I got on, I met everybody else.
Wow.
I met everybody that night live. So
Yeah.
from
I watched that. Actually, I
Lim,
watched that.
Keith,
Wow.
Doc, Diana, Brent was on that call that night.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that, Alicio. Brent, my co-host,
Yeah.
was on that call. I didn't know any of these people. I don't know how well you knew them either. But it was 6 people on this call, and we probably were on for like 4 hours that one
Anthony
day.
was on there. Kirk was on there.
And Anthony. I almost forgot Anthony. But yeah, Kirk was on there. So there was an amazing night. It was kind of like an introduction to where we are now. Because I don't think any of us was doing any of this stuff before then. But that night put it all like together.
And shout out to you, Strick, because what I love about you is you're so buttoned up. That's what I call it. Buttoned up, man. You're just like you have it all together, man. Like
I appreciate you. I don't have it all together, but thank you for saying that.
You know your cues, man. No, I appreciate the shout out. And y'all make sure y'all check out the stream show. They're doing some phenomenal stuff. I gotta get with them because they have everything. And you know, Brent, isn't he like an internet type of guy? He know how to do all that stuff, right?
Man, Brent knows how to do everything.
Yeah.
Like he's a DIYer. Like he knows it all, man. He built a light for his studio.
Wow.
Like he just bought the parts and put it together for his studio. Like he doesn't have, like, he's in a rural area, so he doesn't have like the Wi-Fi that he needs. He actually figured out how to do a point laser to the next place.
Wow.
Because they wouldn't bring the internet to his house. So he's figured all this stuff out, man. I'm at all at the knowledge that he has. So we kind of work together, and we don't cross over because I don't know any of that stuff. So I'm like, okay, Brent, what do you think? Take it, Brent. Brent, it's your turn.
That's incredible. What do you think? No,
y'all
what
do you think, Brent? Well, Brent, tell them what they need. And, that's my role.
Y'all make a perfect team together, man. Y'all show it just flows so good, man. So y'all make sure y'all check out the stream show, man, every Sunday. On Sundays. So I actually send a lot of people over there to look at it because I get a lot of questions, and I feel bad because people be acting like, you don't want to tell me. You know how you get those questions and you be like, oh, go over here, trying to send them resources, and they try to act like, well, you don't want to tell me, like you're too good. No, it ain't that. It's just that they can do a better job at explaining it. Brent and Strick with the stream show. So yeah, man, dope. I mean, I'm amazed at all the opportunities that has come out of us meeting and the collaborations that we've done. I know I can definitely see some stuff coming down the pipeline for Jermaine and Charles. So I'm just looking forward to the doors that continue to open from what we're doing, man. I believe that 2021 is going to be a revolutionary. What was the word you used, Strick?
Renaissance.
Yes, that's it. Renaissance. It's gonna be a renaissance.
And you're not getting rid of me, brother. I don't care what you do. I'm gonna be right there. It's not gonna be too long. I'll be the co-host of the creators on the come up, just on the sideline. No. Don't worry about me. I'm just here. Just here to kind of hang out.
Put my chair over there right here.
Hey,
put me right here,
man. So we got the stream show. We got creators on the come up. Free, you got anything going on you want to plug?
Man, I'm actually gonna, for those that are in the actual real estate industry, I'll be doing my first Real Estate Marketing Pros stream show on next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So we'll be doing that. And that'll be my first official show as it relates to the real estate industry. So if you're a real estate agent, that show is going to be featuring agents that are really doing, some major things in the industry. And in the marketplace, and we actually going to be just covering like a lot of the latest news, especially with Zillow and them, trying to really shut out the agents and all that. So we're going to help some agents come up and really help them build their businesses and what have you. And so
those overlays are sick. Those overlays are sick, Jermaine.
I appreciate it, man. I had to come correct, man. Walt, Doc, he had us looking so right on Stream Kings. He inspired me. So, okay, I got to make sure my first show is right. You know what I'm saying?
I think
when is it again?
Yeah, go ahead.
So what now?
So when is it again? What's the date?
It's next Thursday. Let me get that date for you. Whatever next Thursday is.
Next Thursday is the 11th. What time?
11th. Yeah. So it's at 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's probably going to be about an hour show. And my first special guest is Melody Carswell from California. She's in California, and she's one of the top agents out that way with her brokerage and stuff. And so we're gonna have her on, and then yeah. So if you know of anyone that wants to be a guest on, definitely let me know, and we'll send out the information to you as well. So yeah, doing that, and then as far as last thoughts or what have you, I really want to come back to what Strick was saying about really seizing this opportunity with live streaming. I mean, don't let it pass you by. I'm a witness that for years I let it pass me by, even though I was telling people, hey, you need to be online, you need to be doing this and all that. But the live streaming piece of it, I really didn't focus on until Periscope came about, right? And was live streaming through Periscope. And so now, I'm really taking it by the horns, really moving, with the live streaming. Don't let it pass you by, because there's so many opportunities. I mean, just literally since I met these guys, just out of our collaboration alone, we've had people reach out to us, right? Because they saw the first Stream Kings session,
Yep.
and so literally people have reached out to us just from that stream alone. And then the other communities that we're in, Let's Get Live, and of course the eCamily family and all of that. And so don't pass this by. Don't allow the technology to hinder you or to stop you from moving forward. If you don't understand the technology, reach out to somebody and ask them to help you, to do what you need to do. Or pay somebody to do it, like Strick was saying, Alicio do. He'll pay somebody to get it done, and
so get it done, brother.
Yeah, let's get it done. So don't wait.
Time is more precious than this money, so take this money.
Absolutely. Yeah, so don't wait. The perfect time to start is now. Perfect time to start is now.
Yeah, Alicio.
Hey, before you go, Charles, I do have another stream starting at 11, so I'm gonna dip out. But man, it's always a pleasure with y'all brothers, man. We got to do this again. I want to do that. The idea I gave you, but what y'all thought about that idea? Well,
Hey, I'm ready. I told everybody we had an announcement. We ain't announced it. So if you want to announce it,
I'm ready for that, boy.
If you want to announce it, go ahead. But
no. We can do it right.
All right, we're gonna do it.
We can do it right.
Do it right.
Hey, I love y'all brothers. I got to dip out, man. We'll talk soon though.
All right,
bro. Cool deal. Appreciate you.
Yep. So, I mean, that's we're going to close there. I wanted to say that, I really appreciate how, we've all kind of come together and we met, but in our chat even and working with one another, we all helped each other out in some type of way to take what we were already doing to another level. DJ Strick and I think Alicio, that was a prime example. DJ Strick, you were kind of already in a certain space doing your thing, but linking up with Alicio opened up things for you. Same thing with us connecting. Like we all were doing maybe overlays, but we get in our group and like, wait a minute, that overlay is fire. How did you do that? Hook me up, and so I think that's been the most powerful thing to see is the humility with which we have collaborated, saying, hey, you're doing this very well, man. I thought I was doing it good, but I'm not. Help me out. To me, that's been really powerful because it's taken like Free is getting ready to showcase his overlays, just taking it to another level. And it's been super cool to hang with you guys. And next time we'll have to we had some folks on this stream that connected with us from our first stream. And we've actually been able to do some consultations with them. We've communicated through DMs and helping them take their streams to another level and maybe share some of those before and after. Maybe we can choose one. That'll be one of the things we do is share before and after, because I have several success stories that I like to share with folks who have been hanging with us and reach out to us for tips and stuff just to see how they've transformed their streams. And so that might be something cool we can do. But all of my final thoughts have already been said. I want to go ahead and let you gentlemen go. Go ahead,
I got one more thing. We can't forget about our guy, Walter. And he couldn't make it in tonight because he had a family thing. So I thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. So, brother, please know that you were missed.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
We were going to put a little cartoon image of you up there on the screen because we wanted your presence, man. Walt brings that comedic side to things because he lightens us out when we get all serious.
For
sure, man. But yeah. I think that was it for questions. Nothing else come in. That's all I got. We'll do this again, man. You gentlemen have a wonderful night. Thank you for all who hung with us. And we'll be back. Stream Kings, we're going to be out.
Peace.